Hey guys, welcome to DevOpsSchool. In this video tutorial, we are going to teach you about Ansible, which is a configuration management and application deployment tool. After going through this tutorial, I promise you that the concept and understanding of the Ansible will be absolutely clear to you. Ansible series is divided into multiple parts. Therefore, subscribe to the channel and follow the playlist for complete understanding. But before we begin, let me inform you few things about us. DevOps School is one of the leading platforms which offers DevOps, cloud and containers technology training and certification programs for freshers and established professionals who wish to update and consolidate their skills in the dynamic IT scenario. We ensure that the training solutions are delivered by highly experienced domain experts with practical working experience in various verticals. You can join our all training programs globally through online platforms, and if you're looking for classroom workshop, then we have regular batches available in Hyderabad and Bangalore. Check out the dates and enroll with us for our upcoming batches. For more info, link and contact details are mentioned in the description below.
Yeah, so Ansible. So we would be talking today about the configuration management. So first of all, we wanted to try to understand what exactly is the configuration management is, and then we would be understanding about the issues that we were facing earlier with without configuration management, and then we would be understanding the benefits that configuration management has brought in. And then we would be diving into the different configuration management tools and why we have chosen Ansible as our configuration management tool. Then we would be having a quick intro about Ansible architecture, components, uh, and so on. We would be writing some playbooks. So this is the agenda of today's meeting. So let's start and try to understand what exactly is the configuration management tool. So generally configuration management is nothing but the management of the configuration. So the configuration can be a web server, a package management, a patches, anything. So in olden days, what used to happen is like if a fresh sysadmin, if he's trying to install a web server, and he used to configure the web server. So what he has to use to do is he used to go and install the packages, then he used to do the configurations, then he used to open the ports for the for the communication with the web server, then and he used to do some parameter adjustments, like if he is using Tomcat, he used to adjust the Java parameters. So this was happening earlier. So if the same web server needs to be installed on say 10 machines, so on the one machine, if it has taken say a couple of hours, so 10 machines, it would have taken like 20 hours, 18 hours. And in meanwhile, when he was doing the configuration, what he might have done is after doing couple of machines, he used to take the shell commands. He might write a shell script and then push that to the other machine so that the work can be done easily. So by doing this, he might come into automation field, wherein intermediate sysadmin can push his configuration through automation. Maybe it is Puppet or automation. Maybe it can be shell script or Ruby or Python. So he used to do that, and then then what happened is after a few days of the installation and configuration, there might be a new request to change some parameter, and there may be a issue that might have popped up, like a security vulnerability that he need to patch. So he has to do the same work again on those 10 machines. So for that, he might again write automation. So and he need to document that problem. So these were the challenges, like because sometimes what happens, right, in our field, 90% of the times we do not document things, and whenever there is another issue that arises, we again go back to the step zero and we start working and digging on it. So these were the issues that we were facing earlier. So what is the difference between automation then the configuration management? Automation involves, like, for automation you need to write documentation. So automation doesn't have any state. So if I need to say install Apache, or a HTTPD module on, say, I have Linux different flavors like Ubuntu, Red Hat, CentOS, and all the stuff. Then I may need to write different conditions to match that and make it work. And if I need to push a cron entry to say 100 machines, say in one of, like in when I was working with Oracle, I used to have a dev infrastructure of 1,40,000 machines. So imagine if there is a patch that needs to be applied on 1,40,000 machines, how many people it would be requiring and how much time it would be going on. And these are the challenges that we are seeing with the what we call either with the manual installations or documentation or with automation. So if I am pushing up what we call some code to say 1,40,000 machines, I need to track how many machines have failed and which step they have failed. And this all becomes a tedious job when we are doing with what we call automation as well. So there, people have started thinking about some solution to help this activity, and they came up with configuration management. So we have these are the issues that we have seen in our past with the without configuration management. So what configuration management brings in is easy to deploy, easy to maintain, and easy to configure kind of stuff, wherein we have different tools that are in the market. Say Puppet, we have around from 10 years it is, and we have Chef, and now the latest one is Ansible, which is from past 5 or 6 years, which is of Red Hat. So we have different configuration tools, and based on the requirement and based on the utility, we use this configuration management tools to provision as well as to maintain our configurations and to push the patches and to hell lot of things with these tools. So configuration management is nothing but a method wherein you maintain your configuration to desired state. So this is about the configuration management. So I think I'm clear with configuration management. So that is what we would be discussing in the slides, stating that what is introduction to configuration management, where we are saying that the configuration management is a process and systematically handling changes to a system in a way that it maintains integrity over time. Configuration management is important because it enables the ability to scale the infrastructure. Say suppose there is a new infrastructure that's been added to the environment. If I say that that infrastructure is a web server, so web server related packages needs to install. So this all happens when easily with the help of configuration management, and it also decreases the administrative staff to manage these systems, because if everything is being done in today's world with configuration management, automation, DevOps, and all those stuff, so there is a reduction of force as well. But to manage these as well, we need expert in those areas. So that is what people are looking out as of now. So this is the introduction to configuration management. Then we are talking about the benefits of configuration management tool, like the consistency of systems and softwares, improving efficiency as the manual configuration is quite slow and error prone. And then we are talking about centralized configuration, means we have a centralized way to manage all these configurations on servers and devices from a centralized server. So, and they support idempotent behavior in the means which has state of resources in order to avoid repetition of work. Like if I have some state already been done on the machine, so it will not do the step again. It will just skip that step. So these are the benefits of configuration management. So what server problems that configuration management solve? Like I said, if I have hundreds of systems installing packages, installing security parameters, like I have some kernel parameters that I need to push in, and there is a patch that needs to be applied on our Apache or web servers. Then we have some NFS package that needs to be installed across the environment, and you need to maintain what we call configuration same across the environment. For this kind of things, we would be using configuration management. Then we are talking about solutions for servers, like as I already said, that automation and configuration management are the two things that we would be having for managing these kind of infrastructures, and it also reduces the manual effort. So what are the different configuration management tools that we have in the market? Like we have Puppet, which is 10 years old, and we have Chef, which is approximately 6 to 7 years old, and we have Ansible, that is 5 years old, and we have SaltStack, which is pretty new. So these are the different configuration management tools that we have in the market. So before coming to Ansible, I wanted to know why we have elected Ansible, because we have different configuration management tools in the market. So let's check that why we have selected it. So if you go to the Google, you have right scale reports that are published for every year. So this is for 2019. Let's check where Ansible is. See, if you see here, among all respondents, Ansible has taken 41% adoption, followed by Chef, and third is Puppet. And I think we have graphs as well. Let me pull that out to show you. So if you see what does currently use, so 41% is being used as of now. So last year it was like 36%. It has grown by 4%, and it is leading in the market right now. And if you see 2018 reports as well, it will we can see. Let me open 2018 reports. What it says. I think I have it within my desktop itself. Let me open that if I can get that. So previously, this is what the rate was. So 36% and 21%, and 21% was in 2017, and 2018 it has increased to 36%. So from past 2 years, we can see that Ansible is in the top. So why exactly Ansible is in the top? That might be a question to all of you. So the thing was, Ansible, you have competitors like Ansible, Puppet, and Chef, right? So Ansible is in top because it doesn't have any agent, and it doesn't require any software installation on the client machines like the nodes where it needs to manage the configuration. So no configuration is required. It is agentless. If it has SSH port open, if it is Linux or Unix machine, and Windows, it uses WinRMI to connect, and it has large database of modules which are being continuously written and rewritten and it has a bigger community. So it's growing as of now. So people are more interested in Ansible. So what is Ansible? Ansible is an IT automation tool. It can configure systems, deploy software, and orchestrate more advanced IT tasks such as continuous deployment or zero downtime rolling updates. So this is what is Ansible all about. So what are the benefits of Ansible? Like it doesn't have any agent installed on the like on the nodes where it needs to do the configuration management. It has one central server that is called as control machine, and idempotent is one of the nature of Ansible that we would be showing and discussing about, and it's declarative in a language. It is powerful and flexible. Like it can do many tasks easily because it uses YAML in the background, so it is easy to understand. It's easy to write the code, so it is efficient, and you have many libraries that are ready made for you to use. So these are the benefits. So when I compare with Ansible, Chef, and Puppet, Ansible is written in like using YAML, and it has been written in Python. And Puppet, you have a custom DSL based on Ruby, and Chef is Ruby. So what components that we have is in Ansible only we have controller machine applies configuration on nodes via SSH. Whereas in Puppet you need to have a Puppet master server and you have Puppet nodes which synchronizes and get the configuration from Puppet master node. Whereas in Chef, in the same way, Chef has a workstation, Chef has a server, Chef has nodes. You write your code in Chef workstation, push it to the Chef server, and the nodes pick that configuration from Chef server based on regularly. So these are the infrastructure wise differences. When you check the required specialized software, Ansible doesn't require any software. It works on SSH protocol, and whereas Puppet requires an agent and Chef requires an agent to be installed on the machines. So about the provides a centralized point of control, any computer can be a controller. There is no hardware requirements for Ansible controller machine. Whereas you have Puppet has what we call hardware requirements. It require a high resource Puppet master. Same with Chef. Whereas the script terminology that's been used in Ansible is playbooks and roles, whereas in Puppet you have manifests and modules. In Chef you have recipes and cookbooks. Task execution order is Ansible sequential. Puppet you have non-sequential order. You need to track what been changed and where it is called, and you in Chef it's also sequential. So these are the difference between Ansible, Chef, and Puppet. So general architecture of Ansible would be, so these all what we have, these all come into the controller part. So whereas the others, these are the hosts. So you have what are the different components that we have, where we have an inventory file where we write the details about the hosts, we group them, and we keep the host list where we have to run this Ansible configuration. And playbooks are nothing but a glue which holds the inventory modules and Ansible configuration. It is nothing but we write configuration, what kind of place we need to execute on our configuration on our what we call Ansible hosts. We have modules which are predefined, what we call predefined code that is like a command center, which these modules are pushed onto the remote machine and executed there. So these modules helps us like commands in Linux. So where we run command, we will get output. In the same way, these modules, when they run on the server, on the host machines, it will give whatever the desired information that we require. And we have one of the configuration configuration file, that is Ansible config. We would be discussing about Ansible config. So this all happens with help of Python. So Python is in between, and we have all these as a host. So we can do a provisioning in cloud, we can configure routers, databases, servers, all this stuff. So this can be done with Ansible. So this is the architecture of Ansible. So what are the important terms and definitions? As I already said, inventory is nothing but a file that contains the host information where our Ansible want to push the configuration. The default location of the inventory file is etc Ansible host, and we have playbooks. It is nothing but an organized unit of scripts that are written in YAML, and we use modules to write these playbooks. So what is module? Module is nothing but Ansible use different modules to execute different tasks. These Ansible modules are written in Python. To execute these modules, we have to pass arguments to these modules. So module is nothing but a command center which does the work for us. So roles are nothing but we have a playbook, so different playbooks and different purposes. So we segregate them into directory structure, maintain them properly, and get our work done with the help of role. So if I have, say, web server configuration, database server configuration, there is some application server configuration, these all, if I put in a single playbook, it will be a bigger one. So I'll differentiate them into roles and use it accordingly. So these roles can be reusable. So that's why we differentiate these codes and put them into the different directory structure to help them achieve the roles. So this is about the important terms that we have. So the major difference between Ansible and the other configuration management tools are two things. One is it's agentless, that you need to understand, because if people may ask this in our interviews, like what is the difference between the Ansible and other configuration management tools. So Ansible is agentless. Second is it runs on SSH protocol, and it works as push mechanism. So we would be pushing the configuration from control host to the different Ansible hosts. Whereas in Puppet and Chef, it's a pull mechanism. So the hosts pull the configuration from the Puppet server of Chef server. So what happens is, if there is an immediate change that I need to test or I need to work on, I'll write a code and push it in Ansible. Whereas if there is an immediate change that needs to be pushed in Puppet or Chef, these machines will connect to the Puppet server or Chef server and pull the configuration. So sometimes these are scheduled. So every half an hour it is scheduled, or every 1 hour it's scheduled based on the requirement. So it will say 7:20, 7:05, I changed some configuration and I want to push it in Puppet or Chef, and there is a schedule that runs. So 7:30 the configurations get pushed. Whereas in Ansible, you can push the configurations immediately because we work with push mechanism. So Ansible do support pull mechanism as well, pull and push. So, but we generally, the best part is with the push mechanism that we use in Ansible. So Ansible master node will connect to all other target nodes via SSH, and we need to have SSH key exchanged between the target nodes and the Ansible controller machine. So before executing commands on target server, Ansible will connect to the target server via SSH, and it will execute all the commands that we mentioned in the Ansible playbook. And these target machines can be Linux machines, Windows machines. If it's Linux machines, it uses SSH. If it is Windows machine, it uses WinRMI. And if there are any cloud machines that we need to provide provision, it uses APIs to do that. So this is how the Ansible works and Ansible architecture. So anyone have questions on this before we start on the demo?
So, Sai, one question. So Puppet was the older version, Ansible is the newer version, right? Or...
No. Puppet is different. Puppet is maintained by Puppet Lab. The thing is, it came into the market pretty early, like 10 years, 11 years back. but the major difference between Ansible and Puppet is like Puppet uses a DSL, and it's complicated in writing and understanding and doing work. Whereas in Ansible, Ansible is user friendly, and the best part is with the push mechanism that we have with Ansible.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so that's better, because then many of the workstations, they keep on postponing the pull, and then ultimately their updates lag back.
Yeah, that's what. And one more biggest challenge is if there is any problem with the client machine, say my agent has gone something bad, then I need to fix that in order to push some configuration or pull some configuration. Whereas in Ansible, everything works with SSH. So in Linux, if SSH is the main thing that is required for our Linux machines, so 100% of the time SSH would be working.
Okay.
And one more best advantage thing is to configure Puppet agents as well. We use Ansible. It's pretty easy to install. Because in the sense in varied environments, we have two different configuration management tools based on the client requirements as well. So sometimes to push Puppet agents on the machine, because if I have 1,000 servers, I need to push Puppet agent, I need to install. It will be a tedious job. So there also for configuration management, easy management, we would be using Ansible, because a single RPM that's installed on the controller machine and it will push, we can remove that Ansible configuration. It doesn't leave any traces in the host machine. That is like host machine in the sense nodes, the Puppet nodes. Got my point? Hello.
Sorry, I have a question. I just wanted to know what roles are again.
Roles are nothing but I have a playbook. Say I have a playbook where I have hundreds of things that's been written into it. So serialize them into a directory structure wherein I can put my configuration, the same playbook configuration. I'll do parts of it and make them put in each directory, and each directory has got some configuration, like some purpose to serve. So as a whole, the role can be used. It's a reusable. I can show you when we are going through the demo. So it's not the end of the road. It's just I wanted to make you understand. So you are able to understand what I'm trying to say, right? If you have any questions to ping, we can go through that. Because we have only 3 hours, so I am running a bit fast.
All right. Yes.
So for demo, I would be using a Google Cloud environment. Let me log into the, I think you would be having a Google Cloud environment. If you're not, you register, you log into the, like you type Google Cloud, you would be asked in for the login and other stuff. So you would be getting $300 of free credit that you can use. So you log in with your, what we call your credentials, and then it will ask for what we call your credit card and other details to test your what we call the validity. Then it will proceed to give you $300, and you can use it in 1 year of span, and it will not auto upgrade as well. So it will ask for your approval for auto upgrade generally. So that is the best part. So I'm using Google Cloud for our demo and setup. So let me log in into Google Cloud. So are you equipped, like how to connect to the cloud environments? So generally what you have to do is you have to download a PuttyGen software on your Windows machine.
I've been working on AWS environment for quite a long time now. So yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, so if anyone doesn't know, please download the PuttyGen software. Then you would be seeing something like, 1 second. So you need to generate the public and private key. You generate the private generate. If you click, it will ask for the username that you want to use. Then you save that private key and you add that in metadata in cloud, in Google Cloud. by creating one, what we call, you can create a project. Project is nothing but a namespace where you can launch your machines. So I have my project created, and so here if you see, one second, let me open that. So here you have metadata, right? Here you go to metadata, add that private key to here, like you would be seeing this. So SSH keys, add or edit. If you see, click on edit, you can add the SSH key over here. And then once you are done, you give your username that you want to use. So whatever image that you span or the instance that you create will get that image. So let me launch one instance, like couple of instances we would be requiring to demonstrate this. So I would be creating an instance. So controller machine, right? So controller machine, and then I'm using for the demo CentOS machine, CentOS 7. And I am doing allow HTTP and allow HTTPS traffic. Then I'm creating it. And one more and couple of more instances I would be trying to create for demonstrating. These would be the host machines where the configuration that we are planning to do. So host 1 is one of the machine. Then I'll do the same. So I think this is the external IP. I'll use it to connect. So before that, we need to select the private key that we have. .35 dot 38 dot 35. So I think we have all the machines ready. So on the controller machine, we would be installing the Ansible. So there are two ways to install Ansible. One is you have Python. So from pip, you can install Ansible, but doing that will not give you the configuration files, like the Ansible CFG will not come. So you need to copy that. So you have two ways. You need to understand that you can install from pip using Python, and the second is with the RPM. So we would be installing the RPM one because it gives the configuration files and all those stuff. So I'll do yum-y install Ansible. So you can see whether RPM is installed or not using Ansible. You can see the Ansible, and this is the home directory, and all the configuration that will be stored is etc Ansible. You can see ansible.cfg, host file, and the roles. So this is the home directory of our Ansible. And for Ansible to work, we may need to have SSH key exchange with the what we call host node. So you can either write a script to copy this SSH key. So what I'll do is I'll create one user called as 1 second.
Sai, can you please
Or
make
yeah.
font a little bigger?
Hmm?
Can you please make the font of your screen a little bigger?
Yeah, sure. I'll do that. Able to see?
Yeah, that's fine. If you can make the background white, it will be more
Okay.
clearer to us.
Yeah, I'll change it. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll do SSH keygen, or I can also do what we call SSH keygen. I'll do. So this will create a public and private key for me. So this would be creating under SSH. You can see my ID, RSA, pub, and private key. And to enable the password authentication, what I'll do is I need to edit one parameter in SSH, sshd underscore config. What I'll do is I'll open to password authentication. You would be seeing this. So it is set as no. So I'll do enabling it because it needs to ask password for me. And I'll do the same configuration in other machines as well. So I'll be doing the same on the another machine as well, and then restart the what we call SSH daemon to make this persistent. For our demo purpose, I'll use a user called as Rakesh, and I'll add it in sudos. And I'll set this as do not ask password when I'm doing sudo, because if it's asking for password, you need to again send one parameter to take password, and I need to give password again and again. So this is command line setting of password. You can use echo command as well. Echo Rakesh is my password, and I want to set it for password, and I would be requiring stdin and the user that I want to set the password. So this is the easy way. So now I log in into what we call the controller machine. I'll do SSH keygen from this user because I don't want to give conflict with the SI user. So I can use SSH-copy ID command to copy my public key to that location. So SSH copy ID, and then I'll give Rakesh at the rate host1 is where I want to copy. This is copied, and then This is the only thing that is required. So one is SSH is open, and the all machines nowadays are coming with Python. So these are the requirements. Other than it, nothing. The SSH key needs to be exchanged and a user to manage that. So Rakesh, so first of all, we will try to understand what is an inventory. Inventory, as I already said, is a list of hosts where I need to install or manage or configure those machines. So if I have a list, I'll maintain it as an inventory. So in basic term, its inventory is kind of a storage where we wanted to keep our unused, like whatever uh, whatever records that we are maintaining. Like I have a record where I maintain all day-to-day activities. I'll put it in one book. So this can be an inventory. So in the same way, inventory is nothing but a list of hosts in our Ansible which are being managed by our Ansible server are kept in inventory. So inventory file can have two formats. One is INI format and another is YAML format. General usage is people will be using INI file for our inventory. We can use YAML as well based on your requirement. So let me open you with the inventory file that we have. VI, if you see /etc Ansible, I have host file. This is nothing but what we call the inventory file. Let me open that. So you can see, like, so you have different things here, like one is, one second. So one is here ungrouped hosts. Ungrouped hosts are nothing but I do not have any grouping of those hosts. Like those hosts can be anything. So I have ungrouped hosts, that those are not like web servers or database servers. Any server that is ungrouped can be put as without any grouping. So you can mention the IP addresses or the host names. If you have DNS records enabled, you can mention the host names. If not, you can mention the IP addresses. Grouping is nothing but you give a tagging kind of stuff. These are the web servers that I have in my inventory. So I'll mention those under the web servers. You can have database servers as well. So I'll create a group called database servers, and I mention the database server names or the IP addresses. You can also mention them, like I have www.001 as one machine, www.002, 003, 006 machines. So I can do regular expressions also to mention those in the inventory file. Inventory file takes that as well. So this is one more format. So this is related to DB servers and DB server example that we have given. So if I need to maintain, make our inventory file for our machines, so I can directly edit this file as well. But it can be edited only by root user. So what I'm doing is I'll not edit this file. I'll create my own inventory file. So we have an option to create our own inventory file. Like I can mention the DevOpsSchool is our inventory file. So what we have, I have two machines. One is host 1. I'll put it as ungrouped, and web server, I'll use a grouping like this. So host 2 can be I use as web server, say suppose. So this is inventory file. If I need to write the same in YAML, then I'll use what we call DevOps school.yml for inventory. I'll write hosts as first. I'll start with all. We will discuss about YAML. I'll discuss about YAML. So till that, you just need to understand that you can write this as well. Host is an ungrouped one. So host, I'll put it as host 1, and I have web servers as another group. So I'll mention them as children. Then I'll give group name as web server. And in web server, what hosts I have. So I'll give hosts. Host 2. So if you see this and this is in INI format and this is in YAML format. So so this is the two ways that we can write inventory, and by default this is the inventory file. You can change the inventory file and how to pass the new inventory file. I'll explain you when we are dealing with Ansible configuration. So these are called as static inventories. You can also give dynamic inventory. Dynamic inventories is nothing but you have a script. I'll write a script. I'll get that output like this JSON format or the list of the hosts that I would be using, and I'll pass it that to our Ansible. So dynamic inventories is a new topic, and it can be covered in what we call advanced topics. So generally it is nothing but a script where I run that script, it will generate the dynamic host file, dynamic inventory file. That is what you need to remember. So this is about inventories. So what is YAML? So I did not discuss about this. YAML is nothing but yet ain't markup language. So where it is easily you can understand that. So the all is nothing like I have key value pairs here. YAML is what we call, you have two things here, lists and maps. Maps are nothing but dictionaries. If you are aware of Python, then dictionaries is nothing but a key value pair. So I have a key and a value for it, associated value. And if I have lists are nothing but a grouping of elements like Sai, Rakesh, Ramesh. These are lists. So in maps are nothing but dictionaries. So I have a key pair and associated value. And you have associated value kind of stuff. Sorry, it will close with flower brace. So let me introduce you to YAML, then we will get on with this. So generally YAML, people say that yet another markup language. It is not yet another markup language. It is yet ain't markup language, and it is also called as data serialization language. So the structure of YAML would be I'll be having a key value kind of pairs where I'll write lists and the variables and all the stuff in YAML. So indentation is two spaces that we would be using, and in indentation every YAML file starts with 3 hyphens and it will end with 3 dots. So 3 dots is not mandatory and 3 hyphens you can put it. So generally in our place or YAML files that we would be writing, we would be using 3 hyphens to start a play. And quotes, we have double quotes like strings. If we are trying to declare, I used it like key value pairs, double quotes, right? So quotes are used in YAML. And in YAML, we have lists and dictionaries. These are the two things that we would be having. Lists are denoted with hyphen and dictionaries will be key and value. So these are the things that we have in YAML. So general YAML, how exactly it looks is, if you go to Ansible documentation, let me open the Ansible documentation. So YAML basics. So lists are denoted like this. So apple, orange, strawberry, mangoes. And say employee record, I'm writing for Martin. So Martin is a dictionary or a map, and it has got key as name, job, and skills. So what is his name? Martin developer. And what is his job designation as developer? And skill is elite. So generally the records that we would be writing would be like this or like this, or it can be both. Like here I have employee records for Martin and Tabitha. These are lists, and in list we are using dictionaries. This is a dictionary. This is a dictionary. But as a total, this is a list of dictionaries. So you can have multi-line also, you can declare like this and this. These are two ways to declare any multi-line things that you want to declare in YAML. So nothing much about YAML. So you need to understand that you have key and value pairs like dictionaries and lists. And if you are trying to call any variables, you would be using Jinja templating. So these are the two things that you need to remember about YAML. So let's start with actual demo. So, and one more thing is with variables, right? So variables are nothing but values that you can store in your variables. So this can be used, and you can declare variables in different ways. Like you can declare in templates, you can declare in playbooks, you can declare in our what we call inventory files as well. So if I need to declare a variable in inventory file, I can use. So for web server, I need HTTP port, right? HTTP underscore port equal to 8080. So I can declare this as well. So this can be treated as variable here for this host. So I can declare host level variables. I can declare group level variables. I can declare variables in Ansible command. I can declare variables in templates. I can declare variables in our what we call inventory files as well. So this is what with variables. So generally variables, you know, right, it has a value assigned to it, so we can use it anywhere we want. We can call it. So that is with variables. So we would be starting with variables. So variables are not recommended to write in inventory files. So generally what we do is we will create a group level variables and host level variables if we want to mention anything related to specific host or group. So what we would be doing is we would be creating group, and we would be creating what we call a host, and then we would be creating giving the variables. So that is with generally we would do. Generally we never use group and host level variables here, so I'm not wasting time there. So what I'll do is I'll jump into what we called as modules. So generally what we say is module, as I said, it's a command center. So what it does is whatever module we used based on the module functionality, it will run on the remote host. So if I need to know how many modules are there in our Ansible, you can see it using Ansible doc command -l. If I hit, it will show you these many are the modules. So you can see the module name and the purpose it is used for. So in rough, how many modules I have if I want to check? It will be somewhere near to 3387. So 3387 are the modules that I have that I can use. If I want to see the documentation of modules, say I want to see the documentation of M module, I'll hit here. So you, as I said, right, all modules are written in Python. So it is pointing to this .py. And you can see that what are the options that we have in modules, like allow, downgrade, auto remove, bug fix, conf file, and these are the options that we can pass to the modules. You can see the same modules in the what we called online as well. If you do see Ansible modules list, you have different modules like cloud modules, clustering modules, command modules, crypto modules, database modules, file modules, identity modules, remote management modules, storage modules, network modules, monitoring modules, Windows modules. So these are nothing but already code has been written, and you can use these modules to make your work easy. So these are the modules that we have. So I'll explain you how we are going to use Ansible module. So first we will discuss about ad hoc commands. Then in ad hoc commands we would be discussing about modules. Then what are the challenges that we are getting at ad hoc commands, and what can be done for us to move from this Ansible ad hoc commands, and why we are moving into playbooks, that I'll be explaining you. So Ansible, and if I do -I can give inventory file, right? Inventory file, what I have is DevOps schools. -I is inventory file. If I want to mention, if I'm not using the inventory file, that is by default, that is etc Ansible and host is the default inventory file, right? If I'm not using that inventory file, I can use -I to mention the inventory file name. And then I'll use -m is the module. So first module that we will be seeing is ping module. And here I have ungrouped and grouped hosts, right? So I'll mention all. All means whatever are there in our DevOps schools, all hosts will be shown here. So you can see here, right? There are two hosts that are mentioned in our DevOps schools. One is ungrouped host, another is web server host, where I have host2 as our web server host. So if I see ping response is pong, means it is working. So I'm able to reach this host, success. Host 1 is ungrouped host, so the same. So I'm seeing here. All right. So ping module is generally used to check the connectivity, and what interpreter it is using, I can see here, Python. So there is one more module called a setup module. What it gives is, it will give all the variables and facts that are on the host machines. Like I have host machine properties kind of stuff, where I'll get IP addresses, all the stuff. If I want to see, I can here I'll change, just to make you understand. All I'll remove, I'll give web server. So it will show only for host 1, like host 2. So this is huge content. So it is properties that is being shown here. So if I want to see one property, like what is with IPv4, what generally I'll do is grep -I IPv4 I'll do, right? Generally to see what all having IPv4. Other than that, I can have a filter command, -A filter. I'll use what we call regular expressions to get that. So it will display for web server group. So host 2 is in web server. So these are all the properties that I have. So these are called as facts. Whenever we run Ansible playbook, by default it will collect facts of the machine where I am doing the configuration management. Like host 2 is my node, so I'll get the facts, Ansible facts from that node, like IP address, ETH0, and other stuff. So this can be used in my playbook. How to use? I'll show it. So setup module is used to get the facts information if I want to see. In the same way, I have one more module called as file module. I can use or copy module. Let me open the copy module. I will touch one file. copy is one of the module where I'll mention source. So here -a is for arguments, and I have src as source. So source is our /home/rakesh/123_test is my location where my file is there. I want to copy this file to destination location. Destination location is on host, on the Ansible host where I wanted to copy is temp. I'll say temp, and if I run this, so if you see this home Rakesh123 test that is here is copied into host2 file, host2 machine, and you can see the status changed. So destination, it is copied to temp123_test. I'll go to host machine to check whether it's copied or not. I'll see ls-l. See, when it is copied just now. So copy is one of the module where I'll use to copy the files. So I can use what we call, there is some user module as well. I want to create a user, so I can use user module. So I have user module -m user, and if I want to run on local host, so on the machine where I'm running the Ansible, I want to create a what we called user. So I can use localhost -m user, and then -a for arguments, where I'll name of the user is John and password is John. So for user add, you can't do it with our what we called local users, because what happens is you need to have root privilege. So how to do this? So I'll use -b as become. -b is privilege escalation. In Ansible ad hoc commands, -b is privilege escalation. So you are running this command by becoming a root user. -b by default indicates root user. As we are using no password in our sudo s file, it is not asking for password, and it is creating the user John. I can see whether ID John is created or not. See, it's created. So example, if I wanted to, as I have web server, right? So my criteria is to install HTTPD on that machine. So how do I do that? So I'll use yum module. I have a module called as yum, and name I'll have HTTPD, and here state. What all states it supported is install, present, absent means removal, and latest means latest of HTTPD RPM will be installed. So I'm doing this on my web server. Let me do that on web server. -I inventory as DevOps schools, right? So before that, let me check in host to machine whether I have that package or not. How do I do that? RPM-QA grep HTTPD. No, it is not there. So I'll run this command and let's see what happens. Let's see here. It's done. It's installed. So if I need to check whether it's installed recently or not, I can use rpm-qa-last and grep for HTTPD. So you can see it is installed on 6th February 2020, 4:28 p.m. It is giving the timing in UTC. So if I want to remove the RPM, how do I do that? I'll mention it as absent. Absent with it will remove. See, HTTPD is gone. So if I say there is a task for you to install and configure HTTPD. So what I have given 1000 servers to you. So if I need to install HTTPD on all machines, push the index.html file to all machines, then I need to start the service. So I need to run 3 commands. So after one command, I need to wait. Then again, I need to run second command, wait. Then I need to run third command. So this is a difficult task. So there, people have come up with an idea called as playbook. So in playbook, you will write different tasks. This is one task. Installation is one task. Say copying a file is another task. And third task is starting of service. We have a service module for that. So that's a third task. So all these tasks we put under web server as our host list, and we would be running the playbook. So playbook is nothing but a glue which uses the inventory, which uses the Ansible.cfg, which uses the Python, which uses the what we call modules, and it will do our work easy. So that's why it's a next step to Ansible commands, we can say. So before going into playbook, I would like to show you what is the configuration file that Ansible uses, because here at DevOpsSchool we are mentioning inventory, right? Generally, the general inventory is etc Ansible host file, right? So generally, where this information is stored, it is stored in our Ansible configuration file. Where that Ansible configuration file is there, you can see it here, etc Ansible, you have Ansible configuration file. So if you see here, what is the inventory? This is the inventory. So you have different options. Forks. Forks is nothing but how many parallel sessions that I can run from my Ansible controller node. So if I mention 5, I have 100 servers. So 5 servers, first 5 servers will be configured. Then the next 5 servers will be configured. So forks are nothing but parallel sessions that can be established from your controller node to the Ansible host. So you have ask password, ask sudo pass. You have different what we called different options that you can configure in this configuration file. So gather timeout. So maximum timeout that you can use for getting the facts, all those stuff. So roles are there. Role part. So by default, the role part is etc Ansible roles, which is created by our RPM as well. So if I want to use another role part, I can edit this file, or else I can give -- role underscore part where I have roles. So all the configuration related to Ansible is done in Ansible configuration file, and we have precedence of Ansible configuration file. So first, what happens is, if there is first when you run Ansible playbook or Ansible command, it will first check whether you have Ansible.cfg in your current working directory. If it is not there, first it will check in your environment variables whether Ansible underscore config environment variable is set or not. If it is not set, second precedence will be in your current directory. Third precedence will be .ansible folder will be created in your home directory. There it will check for Ansible configuration file. Fourth precedence and last precedence is with etc Ansible, ansible.cfg is the fourth precedence. In the same way, you have
Can I just stop you here for a second,
precedence
if
order
you don't
for,
mind?
yeah,
Yeah. So the
please.
environment variables, can we pick them ourselves, or when as soon as Ansible is installed, it will be assigning environment variables itself?
So whenever you install Ansible, you need to export the variable Ansible_config. If you want to set a part of your Ansible configuration file. By default, it is this. So if you want to set something other than this, you need to do an export of Ansible_config variable in your environment to this value, any value that you want to set. So generally the precedence would be whether it will be checking whether when you run this Ansible command you run, right, it will first check whether the config Ansible_config environment variable is set or not. If it is not set, it will check your your current working directory. Then it will check your home directory. The last precedence is etc Ansible, ansible.cfg. And this is one of the interview question that people would be asking. So I have ansible.cfg in my home directory and ansible.cfg in my etc ansible ansible.cfg. Which one be of higher precedence, or which one my Ansible command will take? Got my point? I think I'm clear with it. So this is about the Ansible configuration file. So just now I was discussing something about Ansible docs as well, right? So when we do yum, I can see here, right? So if I go here, so these are all the py files. So the modules that we have shown in the website as well, right? So these are the different modules that are categorized. You can also write your custom modules as well. So you need to be good with Ansible. You can write your own Python script, and that can be worked as a module. So we are done with Ansible modules, and then one more module that I wanted to show was with file. So I have what we call my home directory. I'll go to my home directory. There I'll use Ansible file module as well. This will also be used generally, so I wanted to show local host. I have -m as file and -a as part of the file that I wanted to create. So /temp/Rakesh is the path, and what is the state I wanted to use, touch. As I'm creating under temp directory, the user will be having access. So I do not require any sudo escalation. So I'm not using it -b, I'm not using it. So what it does, it has created the file. If I want to remove this file, what I'll do, I'll just change the state to absent. So you can see, right, how YAML is very simple. So you are writing in plain English and it's doing the work. So this is with Ansible, what we called modules. Let's discuss about Ansible playbook. So we have covered inventories, we have covered Ansible CFG, and we have covered what we call Ansible command, ad hoc commands. So leftover are playbooks and different options in playbook, how to use variables, how to use templates, how to use what we called error handling, handlers, and there are some advanced topics. If I find time, I'll cover what we call tags, and if I want to store some secrets into vault, how do I do that, and how to use that in your playbook. And these are the advanced topics that if time permits I'll cover. If not, we will cover what we call the playbooks, and how to write roles, and different options in playbooks, and how to use variables in playbooks, how to use variables in roles. Ansible Galaxy I'll be discussing. So these are the things I'll cover, and if time permits, I'll try to cover Vault, and then the what we called error handling and tags. These are the advanced topics. If time permits, I'll try to cover. So after the so I think we will have a quick break of say 10 minutes. So is it fine with all of you?
Yes, it's okay.
So how are the things? Are you understanding, not understanding, in dilemma? How exactly are the things? So till now we have discussed about Ansible modules. So what was the challenge that we have seen? We have seen that if I need to do 3 steps like a web server installation, I need to do a package installation, then I need to do some configuration, and I need to do some so like I need to start the web service. So these are the 3 commands that I need to run. So if I have to run on 100 machines, say I have to wait for the first command to execute, then I need to run the second command, then I need to run the third command as a module. So which is a tedious stuff. So to avoid this situation, we have come up with like Ansible has come up with playbooks. So playbooks are same like manifests in our Puppet. So we will write our playbook. So playbook needs to have an extension of .yml, which is general across the Ansible. So barring the inventory files, any other file, we need to have, one second. So let's see the playbook creation. So I'll, one second, it is not. So I'll write my first playbook, playbook1.yml. So first, as I said, YAML will have 3 hyphen. So YAML will start with 3 hyphens. Then I have host, on which host this playbook needs to be run. So I'll give web server as I am doing Apache installation. Then for installation, what it requires. So we would be requiring a root privileges, right? So I have a become as an option. So this can be yes or true. I can keep it yes. By default, to do a escalation, you can use become equal to yes and become equal to true, and it will escalate your privileges to root user. If you have sudo setup, as we have set up sudo earlier, right? Rakesh has sudo access to root without password. So that is what happens if we become colon yes. Then I can mention the user as well, which user I want to run my what we call this playbook. So I can give any other user as well, become underscore user, something like Sai as well, I can give. So it will run the playbook as Sai. So I wanted to run it as root, right? So I can give it as root. In case as by default, the become will take root user. So I'm not mentioning any become underscore user. So what tasks that web server involve, like web servers installation involves. So one would be installation, second would be configuration and other stuff, right? So what I'll do is I'll create tasks. So in tasks, everywhere I'm using 2 indentations. So 4 indentations hyphen, then I'll give name. This is general what I am trying to do. So it will be displayed in your running when we run the Ansible playbook, it will display that name. So what I'm doing, installing Apache package. So what module I am using?
Sai, your screen is stuck. We cannot see where you're working. You're stuck on the previous screen, I believe. Yeah, we
Able
can
to
see you
see
now.
me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Now we can see it. Thank
Sorry.
you.
So we would be starting YAML with 3 hyphens, that as I already said. So after that, hyphen is used to write our stuff. So hyphen, we will start host, the web server group where I wanted to install the Apache. Then become, by default, you can use it as yes or true. So this is called as privilege escalation in Ansible. So I'm trying to escalate my privileges in order to install the package. So by default, if I use yes, the privilege escalation method will be taken as root. So if I'm doing sudo, it will ask for password, right? So I have entered my Rakesh user not to ask password. So it will not ask password when becoming the escalated user like root. So what are the tasks involved in our web server configuration? One would be the installation of the package. So I'm using installation of the package as tasks. First is I'll write name. So this will be shown when I'm running my Ansible playbook, installing Apache package. This is what my understanding is. So I'll use the module to do that. So here I can go and do mention as name what package I wanted to install, httpd. And what is the state? State should be latest. I want latest package to be installed. This is the first step. So this next step would be, you should have indentation proper in what we call YAML. So after hyphen, you should have one space. So name, I'll be doing that starting of web services. Or starting of Apache and enable at boot time. So for this, I'll use service as a module. So I'll have a name. What is this? HTTPD. And then state. What is the state? It should be started. And enabled is the parameter to make it at boot time to start. So I'm doing this enabled equal to yes. So this is a simple playbook. What it does is it will install your HTTP Apache package and it will start the Apache and enable it at the boot time. So this is the functionality that is being done by this simple playbook. So I'm going to run this playbook on web servers. So already I have an inventory that has been created for this, that is in DevOpsSchool, right? So I'm using web server group and I have host as my web server. So what I'll do is, to run a playbook, Ansible-playbook is the command. And what is the inventory that I am using? DevOpsSchool. right? And what is the playbook that I'm using? Playbook 1. If I want to check the syntax of my playbook, I have a command called as syntax-check. It will check the syntax and give you if there is any syntax errors. No errors. Okay. I have one more option called as --check. It will not run, it will not install. It is a dry run. So it will just do a dry run. It will not install the package. It will check whether if you are getting any errors or stuff. So if I run this, it will just do a gather facts. It will not do anything. One second. Restart duplicate session. See, it did not install. So we are doing a dry run. So it will check whether your playbook will work as per expected or not. So this is what we have given in name, right? So this is displayed here. So if you see my playbook, this is the name. Name is displayed in the task section, right? And if I want to limit as well, I can do limit. Limit in the sense, if I have multiple stuff that, like I have 10 machines in my web server and I want to test it in on one machine, I can do -- limit and the machine name host2. If I give and run, it will only run on the host2. Even if I have 10 machines in web server group, we are limiting to run it on specific host to test the functionality. I can do that with this command. So now what I'll do is I'll just run this playbook so that I'll see the installation and starting of Apache. So let's go there, check on host2, rpm-qa grep httpd. I'm able to see, and systemctl status httpd. I can see. So generally it will run on 80 port. So I can go here, http:// what is the IP address of host2? 35.223.13. So I can just do this. See, you can see Apache web page, right? This is running on host2. This server. So this is a simple playbook. If I need to run the same playbook on my local host, what I can do? I can just I'll change this local host. I'll change this to local host. And when I run it, it will run. Just I'm doing syntax check, or I'll do a dry run so that you can see. I'm not going to install it on my local machine. If I want to see on which machine it is running, I can do list-hosts is one of the option. So it will list me on which host it is running. So it is running on localhost because I mentioned it in playbook, stating that it has to run in localhost. So if I want to run on all machines, I can mention it as all. So what it happens, it will run in all machines that are in my inventory. Bar any web group, any ungrouped machine also it will use. So if you see, right, host 1, host 2 are the two machines in my DevOps school. One is grouped and another is ungrouped. And in both machines, it will run that playbook. So this was the simple playbook. So my point is, like, I wanted to check whether something happened in my previous task, and based on that I need to do my present task. So if I wanted to do that, how do I do that? So you have an option called as register. Register will store your output if you give it. So I'll give you a demo of register, how exactly the register variable works. So we will take 1 second, playbook1.yaml. I'll make it as web server because I'm going to use it again in a minute. So we will see about register variable. So if you want to store the output of your task, I'll use register variable. So how do I do that? So I'll write one variable for register.yml. What I'll do is the same, 3 hyphens and 1 hyphen and host. I'll do localhost. Then I'll run what we call tasks. I'm not using become because I don't want, I use become only for privilege escalation. I'm not doing any privilege escalation. I'm just creating one file called name, create a file, and then I'm using file module for this. So file path colon, what is that I'm doing, /temp/file1. I'm creating one file. What is the state? Touch. So I want to register this output. So register colon output. I'm registering it as output. So I have one module called as debug. What it does, it will just print the output that I like, the message that I wanted to print. So message, this is value of register variable. And how to display the variable? Output is my register variable. So it will give me the message like this. So I'm going to run this on Ansible -playbook. Inventory file, I don't think it's required for localhost. Register.yml. See what it is giving. This is the value of register variable. So register variable output is this. So what it is giving, whatever we have run when this command is created, right? The group Rakesh and everything is like the group owner is Rakesh and UID is 1003 and destination, all this stuff is given. So whatever parameters are there, right? These are given here. So if I want to get some information from this, I can I want to write who is the owner of this file when it's creating. So what I'll do is I'll create a file and write the owner information there. So I'll open this register variable. 1 second. So I'll use inline module here. So I'm given the path, the same file path I wanted to store. What I wanted to store, what is the UID of the variable? So I can get that from output dot UID. So 1003 is the UID of your Rakesh. So I can get that information. I can get the facts information also printed here. So I want to know on which host it is running. So how do I get that? So Ansible hyphen localhost-m setup, and I want to know the host name. So I can use -a filter and filter equal to host. Filter equal to star host name star. So Ansible host name is the variable. So if I want to get in this information also into that variable, into that script, into that file, I can do that here. So I'll put this is the information that I got it from facts. So by doing this, I can show you two examples like how to use the register variables and how to use facts as well. So if you see /temp/file1, you can see this controller machine is the my host name, and the UID with which it is created is what we can see here. So one of the interview question that people would be asking, so you have seen, right? So whenever this Ansible playbook is running, right, it is collecting the facts. So if I want to turn off the facts, how do I do that? Because if I have 1000 machines for gathering facts, I do not want to waste my time, and I'm not using any fact that is required by that machine. Like I'm using this as a variable, right, the host name. So if I don't want that, and the facts doesn't serve any purpose for me, it is wasting my time because the execution time will increase. So if I want to remove that, what I can do is and commenting in YAML, how can I do the same hash? Facts spelling is wrong. See, it is not collecting. That option itself is disabled. Gather facts, right? So one of the question that I have 1000 machines and I'm not using any facts, and I want to improve the performance. How do I do that? Disable the facts. You can disable using that option, or else you can pass that as an argument, gather facts equal to no in your command. So these are the two ways that you can disable facts. And next we will discuss about loops. So I want to create 3 users. So how do I do that? So in Ansible you have 2 types of conditions. One is with underscore items. Second is when. When condition is nothing but it's like if condition in our shell programming. Like if particular condition is met, that task will be executed. So we would that is using when condition. If I want to iterate and create users, so I have 10 users that I need to create on my machine. So I can use with underscore items. There is one more option called as with underscore files. This is depreciated. It is same like with underscore items. So we are not going to discuss about with underscore files. I'll give you the loops. So I wanted to demonstrate a simple YAML file for with underscore loops. So with underscore items dot YAML. So what I'll do is the same 3 hyphens. Then I will do high host wherein all, or I can use localhost because I don't want to waste time. Localhost will run fast, so I'll do that. So tasks, I'm not using any privilege escalation. So I'm trying to create few files, hyphen name and part colon slash temp slash items. So this is the path, and I'm doing touch state. And what I'm using with underscore items to iterate. So what are the files that I wanted to create? File 1, file 2, file 3. So what this playbook does is it will create 3 files by iterating this list. This is a list in YAML. So it will create temp file 1, temp file 2, temp file 3, and it will do touch. Oh, sorry, here it should be item, not items. See, it has created 3 files. If you see, what is the time? 17:17. So if I want to do this using when, so I want to create a file. So I want to check the what is the distribution. CentOS. So I'll use the same stuff for when.yaml demonstration. Oh, shit. So I'm creating a file part /temp /CentOS, and the usage is state touch. When I wanted to do, when Ansible underscore distribution equal to CentOS. I think something wrong with our syntax. Let's do syntax check. It is complaining about equal to symbol. So I think there is some problem with it. So we will do one thing, I think. See, it was issue with syntax. So let me run that. So what was the distribution? Let me check that using -m. I think we have done something wrong. So sent 0 was given, so that's why it not created. So generally when we will be using this as, and whenever we have something, if condition that needs to be checked, we will be using the when condition. So with items I have already shown you. So these are the two loops that we have in our Ansible playbooks. So if I want to have a variable, let's do one thing. I'll create a what we called playbook for Tomcat, then convert it as a role, so that we will be able to understand the roles and playbooks better. So I'm doing tomcat.yml. I wanted to install Tomcat. So what I'll do is 3 hyphens, then I'll go for hosts. I'll do web hosts all. On all machines I wanted to install Tomcat, and become equal to yes. Then I'll do become underscore user as root. This is optional because it by default is that itself. So tasks I wanted to do. What is the task that I wanted to do is hyphen name. Name is install Tomcat. Then what I'll use is yum module. So what is that name equal to Tomcat? I can also give like this as well, state equal to latest or state equal to present. We haven't tried this option, so I wanted to show you that. Then I have a Tomcat started. So start Tomcat service. Then I want to do service name equal to Tomcat, state equal to started. Then I wanted to deploy some var file. So for deploying a var, I'll use what we call another module that is called as get URL. I wanted to deploy a sample var, so I'll go for sample var from sample tomcat var. So I'll take this var, copy link location, I'll give that here, URL equal to, and then where it has to deploy, the destination path equal to /usr share /tomcat/web apps. So after deployment, what it needs to do? It needs to start or restart the service for the deployment to be successful. So what I'll do generally, restart tomcat service, then I'll give the same service name equal to tomcat, state equal to restarted. This is what we generally do, right? So if I did this, if I deploy this, so what I wanted to show here is the tomcat deploy, usage of handlers, and the other thing is how do we notify a task from one task to another task. So I want to show you that. So what I'll do is I'll take web servers, not all, say cat DevOpsSchool. So what I'll do, Ansible -playbook -i DevOpsSchool, then -m, the module name, -name, not playbook name, is tomcat.yml, and I'm running this. So it will install Tomcat on web server. It is. So I'm using web servers here. So it will install Tomcat. It will deploy that application. It will restart our what we call Tomcat service. If you see, so it is installing Tomcat. Let's see on host 2. It has installed. So what are the changes? You can see OK5 changed 4. So these 4 are the changes. If I rerun the same stuff, it should be idempotent. But what it will do is it will again restart the Tomcat. Even there is no deployment, Tomcat is being restarted. Where is idempotency? Whenever there is a deployment, then only there should be Tomcat service that needs to be restarted. So how do I change this? If I mention in tasks, it will run. So there comes handlers. So handlers is a stuff wherein we say from if the deploy var happened, then only restart the Tomcat service. If it did not happen, don't restart the service. How do I do this? So what I'll do is I'll write a handler here. So after deploy var task, what I'll do is I'll say notify. Notify is the keyword to notify what it needs to be restart Tomcat. So here I'll write handlers. Handlers, from where it will be handlers. So here is the handler, restart Tomcat service. Generally in 2.4 and in the below Tomcat, there is notify name and the task name used to be same. But if I have multiple tasks that needs to be performed, so grouping was a problem. So in the latest stuff, they have included listen option. So I'll put here listen. Listen name should be same as this notify name. So what it does is it will install Tomcat, it will start deploy where when it happens, then only it will restart the Tomcat service. So if you see here, without any deployment of var, because already the same var was deployed, so the task was okay. Still, it has restarted the services. If I am rerunning this, because we have added handlers, it will not do that. So it will skip the restart Tomcat service. It will not at all show that. See, this is missed. So there might be an interview question: how are handlers used, and how does notify and listen work? So you can explain this. So if I want to see whether Tomcat is installed or not and it's running, I'll go to host 2, open this. Colon 8080, oh, sorry. Because our Tomcat will run on 8080 / sample is the application name. See. So what I'll do is variables, right? So I can use variables here. I can have variables. So where I'll define variables as destination underscore path equal to what it is. In place of this, dest underscore path. I can do the same stuff with URL as well. I can mention here as URL underscore lock equal to what is the location that I wanted to have. I'll make this to run on all hosts. So what it will do is it will install on host 1 as well. So you can see host 2 is coming prompt because the state is stored. This state is nothing but idempotency. If it is already done, it will not touch it again. If it is already in desired state, it will not touch. So on host 1 also it is installing Tomcat. So it has installed on host 1 as well. So how to use variables in playbook also been covered. So next we will talk about roles. Roles are nothing but I have a Tomcat, what we call Tomcat playbook. I want to make it as a role. So generally roles has got different directories. So if I want to see how exactly the role looks is, I can do Ansible -galaxy is a command to create an empty role in it, and Tomcat is my role. where it has created Tomcat here itself. So if you see here, different directories are there. So generally these directories are not required. Whatever directories that you require, you will create those. So defaults will have variables. So if I want to define any default variables, I'll define in defaults directory, where I'll create main.yaml. I have files directory. If I need to copy any static files, I'll keep it here. Handlers. So handlers we have discussed, right? If there are any handlers, I'll keep it here. Meta. If my role is dependent on another role, or if I have dependency on another role, I'll mention in it meta directory. Tasks. Tasks is nothing but whatever tasks we have, right? We will mention here. So templates is nothing but what is the difference between files and template? So files are static content. If I have dynamic content that needs to be replaced and copied, I'll use templates. I have tests. Tests is if I write any unit test, I'll put it in tests, and vars is variables. So you can ask what is the difference between defaults and vars. Vars variable has got higher precedence than defaults. Any variable that is defined in vars and any same variable is defined in defaults, then the variable that is in vars will have higher precedence over any variable in the defaults. So say log location is mentioned as /var/log in my vars folder. The same log location is mentioned as log equal to log as /opt/log. Then when I run my role, /var/log has got higher precedence over /opt/log because it is mentioned in defaults. So this is what you need to understand. So what I'll do is I'll make my Tomcat as a role. How do I do that? I'll take the task. I'll put it in Tomcat task directory main.yaml. So I'll mention all the tasks here. What are the handlers that I have? These are the handlers, right? These are the handlers that we have. And what are the variables that I have? These are the variables. This I can put it in variables or else in defaults. So I'll write a simple site.yaml where I'll define -host as all and then become equal to yes and roles. What is the role that I am using? Tomcat. Ansible playbook is the command, and then I'll run site.yaml, which is the main playbook. So site.yaml has the host information and what are the global configurations. All other configurations are pushed into Tomcat. No host matched because we haven't mentioned the what we call Ansible playbook. Inventory file we haven't mentioned. That's why it is doing that. -i DevOps schools and the site.yaml. See, So what we have done, we have converted the playbook into role. Say what exactly the last stuff is with templates. I'll show templates. Before that, I wanted to make you understand what exactly it is. So each play or playbook. So I can have multiple plays in a playbook. This is one play. In the same way, I can have DB servers, one play, application servers, one play. So this complete is each playbook can have multiple hundreds of plays, and each task, like in tasks also, you can have n number of tasks. So to differentiate, bifurcate all this to proper stuff, like web server should have Tomcat play, like playbook, and I should have Apache playbook. So I'll create a web server role. I put these playbooks at individual stuff and call that. So organizing your playbook is done by role, and you can use this role in any other site1.yaml or any other YAML file. So basically for reusability and for what we call distribution of your code into proper variables and proper directories, you will be using roles. So in a playbook you have plays, and plays tasks, and tasks uses modules. Modules are run by Python. And if a role is there, role uses playbooks, playbooks uses plays, plays uses tasks, tasks uses modules to run on the configuration post. So one last thing that we have missed to use is templates. I did not cover templates. That is one of the important thing. After covering template, I think we can close this session. So what is template that I wanted to show? So what is the difference between file and template? File is a static content, template is a dynamic content. So I want to write a small playbook to show that. So I am writing on localhost vi template.yml -host :localhost. What I am doing is I am copying a module task -name template demonstration. What I am doing is I'm using template module. Source is my location where I have. So generally in roles, it will be copied from template folder. Here I am using /home/rakesh/sai.j2 is the source, and destination is, I'll put it as temporary directory /temp/sai.txt. So I'll create this Jinja2 template. In Jinja2 template, what I'll do is I'll just have Ansible _distribution. This will be collected from our what we call this variable will be collected from facts. So I'm using a variable, and this variable will be substituted and copied as a file into temp location. How do I do that? So Ansible playbook template.yml. What is the content of Jinja2 template? This, right? What is the content of my file that is created using playbook? sai.txt. See, CentOS. So for any variable that you want, dynamic content that you want to be substituted using variables, or if conditions also, you can write it in what we call Jinja2 templates. So based on this, if this is this you substitute this variable. So for any configuration management, like if I need to change the HTTP port in my configuration file httpd.conf, what I'll do is I'll take that httpd.conf, put it as a Jinja template. In HTTP port place, I'll put port number that is 80, which I'll pass 8080. So if I pass that as a variable from my Ansible playbook to this Jinja template, this Jinja template will pick that variable, substitute that in your actual configuration. So this is the functionality of Jinja 2 templates. So generally what we did not cover here is error logs and the what we called blocks in the sense we have a block, rescue, always methods, tags, and the other stuff is that's it, and vault. So these are the 4 topics that were not covered, which are included in our Red Hat Ansible examination. RH407 is the examination. So these are the 4 topics that we not covered, that is vault, and we haven't covered blocks, ignore errors, Ansible Galaxy also, Ansible Tower. Ansible Tower and Ansible is nothing but Ansible Tower is a licensed version. It is enterprise version. It is GUI from where you can manage stuff. So Ansible Tower. And one more thing that we haven't covered is tags. So these are the 5 things that we haven't covered because of time constraint, and these are all advanced topics, and I don't want to make you strain more on this. So that's why we did not cover. You can go get this information from what we call Ansible docs. So you know the document location, right? You can get this information. You can have a practice. If you have any questions, you can send me an email. I'll reply you back. So you can note my email ID. Any issues, you can put to this email ID. So I think I am done with the session. Like if you have any questions, we can continue, have a discussion on that.
Can you please write your ID, your email ID again, please?
Yeah, it's v.nagasai@gmail.com. So actually it's a 3-hour session, right? It's very hard to cover everything from end to end. So I tried my level best to cover. I pushed whatever information I can push, which is out as well, like gather facts, set facts. These are all generally in any other technical sessions. Generally for Ansible, at least it will take 25 to 30 hours to complete the complete module. So I tried my level best to push the information. I hope that you all people have got something out of this session. So at least, so I'm hoping that. So any questions, please redirect. I'm open for questions. So we have another 12 minutes. And please in subject line mention as DevOps schools. In subject line, DevOps school, so that I'll be able to get that information and respond back to you.
How can we get this video to review? Is Mantosh going to post it?
Yes, it would be taken care by what we call the mentor. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank
you.
So
any questions on this as far as whatever we have covered?
No, in the advanced topic you mentioned, is it that is it all frequently used in Ansible or?
Generally, what happens, I'll give a small intro for each stuff. So I think you can go from there. So vault. What vault is nothing but if you have a secret. So I have a password. I want to hide that password in my playbook. See, these playbooks are written on control machine. Someone may have access to that. He may see that. How do I encrypt? So you have a concept called as vault. You have ignore errors stuff. So I am running some playbook, and I know that there will be some warning, some error, and I know that that happens in some block, and I want to ignore error because what happens, if Ansible encounters error, it will stop there itself. It will not proceed to the next step. So to avoid that, we have to set a flag called as ignore errors. You have something called as tags. Tags are nothing but I have a playbook where I have web servers and database servers, right? In the same playbook. So there are two different tasks. So one is web server, say I have application server and a database server running on the same machine. Like same machine is having database as well as application. So when I'm running the playbook, it should only do database change. Because there was a database change, I want to do database configuration again. So it should not touch the application. So I have something called as tags. I'll mention tag for database as database. And when I'm running my Ansible playbook, I'll send tags equal to database. So it will only run that block. So database block only will be run even if the playbook has database blocks as well as the what we call application blocks. So this is done by tags. And the other stuff is blocks. Blocks are nothing but ignore errors. What it will do, it will ignore every error. But if I want to have one task, say template demonstration is my task, I want to try if this works well and fine. If it doesn't work, it should not exit. It should go for rescue block. So saying that, okay, this task has been rescued for this host, and proceed further, proceed the other steps. So I'll use block. Got my point? So these are the Ansible Galaxy is one thing. This is nothing simple. I can show you. Ansible Galaxy, if you do, so it is a community basically. So everyone will write their codes and put it in community. So ready-made roles you will be having. Example, I want to install Jenkins. So I'll go to downloads or I'll search here where most popular. So development. I can based on that I have different stuff, right? Jenkins. So some girling guys has written Jenkins. Its score is 5/5. 3,90,000 people has downloaded it. How to run this? Everything will be there. You can do this. What it will do? Simple. Install is to get that stuff. Get that from the download page. If I do that, it has downloaded Java dependency as well as Jenkins. So if where it will be downloaded, it will download in our etc Ansible roles, because we did not give any roles location, right? Or it did not download here. Let me check that. It will download in that .ansible siting. Yeah, here you have roles in your home directory. See, these two are downloaded. So if I want to execute this, I'll write one site2.yaml where I'll mention same story, hosts all become yes. Here roles the same. What is the role that I have? Hyphen, 1 second. Where is that role? This is the dependency role. First, I need to run this role. What is the another role that I have? Jenkins. That's it. If I run this, it will install Jenkins. It will pick up from roles. So for this, I have to give Ansible playbook. Then I have all right -I. 1 second. Let me move this. CP, I have DevOpsSchool. So I'll copy here and then Ansible playbook -I. DevOpsSchool is my entry and site2.yaml -I1 roles -part. What is the roles part? This is the roles part /home /Rakesh /.ansible /roles and run. It will install the Jenkins. So I haven't written any code. I have downloaded the code. I have written my site2.yaml to install the Jenkins, and this is what. So if I want to change something, like I want to change the port of Jenkins, generally Jenkins run on 8080. If I want to change that, these are the options that I can pass it as variables. Jenkins HTTP port equal to 9191. I can mention it in my site.yaml. Say I have site.yaml, right? Site2.yaml. Vi site2.yaml. I'll mention vars as vars. This is the Jenkins port. I'll make it as 9191. So it will change that when I am executing. That variable will be passed and that variable will be replaced. So these are the README files that I can use. So everything is documented. So 90% of the cases, the code will already be found in Ansible Galaxy. You can get that code, make the changes as per your requirement, run it.
I mean, even the file modules and user module, whatever you showed, it is all available in
Those are modules, right? That is modules from Ansible. This is the roles. So this is the complete task. So if you want to know what all modules that you have in Ansible, you go here, search for Ansible modules. You have different modules. Module is nothing but a command in Linux. And say this role is nothing but you have multiple commands that you need to run. You will write a shell script, right, to do that activity. So shell script kind of stuff is playbook, and you have multiple playbooks. And if you want to differentiate it, like one, I have say I have an outage and I want to disable monitoring. I have one script. I have one script for what we call installing packages. I have one script for enabling monitoring after the patching. So these three are different scripts, right? So these three scripts can be termed as playbooks. The internal commands that is used here can be modules. And the role is nothing but this complete stuff is for patching, right? So this complete is a role. Got my point?
Okay, yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
So these are the all modules that we have. You can go through whatever based on your requirement, like system module if I want to see, if I want to get to know network modules. So I'll have bunch of modules. we have 3,387 modules. You can get that information from Ansible doc. I have shown you, right? So for Ansible Galaxy also, you have different options like Ansible Search, Jenkins. You can also search from here, not going into the web page. You can do that from here as well. So it will show you all the Jenkins code that is available in the community. 318 people have written the same Jenkins. So which one is better? Based on rating, you take it, change the changes, and run that. That's it. So any other questions? So another 5 minutes I'll extend. If anyone has questions, please share. So how do you feel about session? Because what we need to improve, we need to understand, right? So was it informative? Was it long? Shall we concise? Or we are pushing much information in a single class? How exactly is it?
I think it was good.
It's very good.
Yeah. I don't know what the others feel, but I think you started from just describing the market value or market share of Ansible, how much is being used, and then you went through the configuration right through, and then you showed us the easy way of getting code from the Galaxy. I think it was good.
Okay.
Thanks, Sai.
So that's what. So welcome. So the only thing is only thing is you have to make your hands dirty. In the sense, you have to practice. If you want to get into configuration management, because these options we will forget if we don't practice.
Yeah, true.
So you need to practice a lot. So you have the best place to search or get the information is Ansible docs. It has got complete information. It is very easy to understand. So try all this stuff. You have 3 or 4 topics that were uncovered, very small topics.
Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Want to study further? Subscribe to our paid membership to get a deep dive into each and every topic. Do look out for more videos in our playlist and subscribe to our DevOps School channel and hit the bell icon to learn more. Keep learning.